Stephen Enti, let's run through the major news highlights for the day. Parliament has set up a 5-member special ad hoc committee to investigate the alleged bribery of some appointments committee members. The investigative committee is expected to conclude its findings and report back to the House in a month. And 500 service personnel in the Gao East municipality of the Greater Accra region have been paid their allowances. About 50 of them picketed at the National Service Secretariat to demand their December and January allowance. Meanwhile, the leadership of the National Service Personnel Association has called on members to remain calm as it works on the allowance increment. And the Supreme Court has directed the Attorney General to file a statement of defense brought before it by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, within 7 days. CLOGSAG is praying the court to interpret Article 94, Clause 3 of the Constitution, which prevents civil servants from vying for parliamentary seats during elections. An Accra District Court has bemoaned the lukewarm attitude of the Attorney General's Department towards the murder case of former Buakwa North MP J.B. Dankwa Edu. Second Court Judge Ebenezer Kweku-Ansan, who was holding brief for the substantive judge, ordered the prosecution to expedite action on the bill of indictment. Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia has disclosed that the construction of the official residence for vice presidents on the Switchback Road at Cantonment will cost $13.9 million. He criticized the NDC government for the award of the contract through non-competitive bidding. Those were our major news highlights. Up next is the big one. Welcome. Now, a severe rainstorm in the national capital, Accra, has ripped off a part of the roof of Parliament House. The Tuesday night rain, accompanied by a severe storm which has wreaked havoc in several parts of Accra, affected activities in the parliamentary chamber as the rain flooded in from the roof. Some electronic gadgets installed in the chamber were left at the mercy of the rain, as a few staff of Parliament were seen trying to salvage some important materials. The incident occurred not long after the House had adjourned sitting. The House sat on Tuesday night to consider a bill brought before it under a certificate of urgency to amend the local government bill. Parliament was renovated the chamber in 2014 after MPs complained of congestion resulting from an increase of parliamentary seats from 230 to 275. The House, while on recess between July and October of 2014, underwent infrastructural adjustments to ease congestion and change worn-out materials. Now, our reporter Stanley Blue has joined us in the studio to have a discussion on this. He has been following the beat in Parliament. Stanley, how are you?
I'm fine.
So there are those who are saying that this was a leakage and an embarrassing leakage, but it's not only a leakage. The whole roof was blown off.
Sure.
So tell me what you saw when you went there.
Okay, but initially when I got to the place, the information that came in was that it was just a mere leakage. So that was what was speculating around. But when I got to the scene, I realized that it wasn't what has been speculated early on. It was a fatal incident that has occurred. And from as the visuals depict, the whole roof, the entire roof of the Parliament House was ripped off. And some have said the compound is, all the compound, you could see pieces of roofing sheets spread, scattered all over. And so it is very, it is very...
This is unbelievable, especially considering that Parliament was renovated in 2014. Did you get the chance to speak to those staff members who were trooping in and back trying to salvage some of the electronic equipment?
Actually, I was able to speak to about 4 members of Parliament, but when I got to the place, almost all of them had left, and so we had only few of them who are also preparing to leave the scene when we got in, and so they were able to interact and share their frustrations and how dangerous or how this whole incident is going to affect parliamentary proceedings.
Okay, so Stanley, we would have to just play back your interview with those members of Parliament, and we'll continue with our chat.
We're inside having a business, and we had a big bank. When we got there, we saw that the roofing is off, and you realize that the rays are coming straight into the chamber, and we have to halt proceedings. And when we came out, we saw that most of the roofings, they are all down. But fortunately, we have NADMO security, other people around to rectify the whole show. So we are waiting for tomorrow to see whether we'll be able to sit to continue the business.
First of all, thank Almighty God that it happened at a time when almost everybody around has gone home. We were in the chamber debating on the amendment to local government bill when we heard a very big sound. I was telling the colleagues sitting by me that it appears a helicopter is landing on the building. We heard people just shouting that the roof of the building has been taken off by severe rain. And for me, if it had happened during the daytime, it would have caused a lot of damage to vehicles, human beings, and a lot of property. They've called in the authorities to come and open the place for people to have access to the place to assess the extent of damage. So I am thinking that tomorrow will be the exact time for the people who will assess the place to know the duration of works which would have. But for my little point of view, I think the extent of damage is severe, and it is going to take a minimum and maximum of 3 weeks to complete the repair works.
Let's pay close attention to the quality of work that is done at the ministry, department, and agencies, and let's use this as an example and make sure that we deliver our best for this nation. We can't continue to be throwing money away, going back and forth, doing some things that we have to do it again another time.
When it was raining and the roof was taken off, some members insisted that we should still be in. When you took members to Kuforodia and educated them, orientated them on personal safety, how to run for your life when there's a disaster, then the disaster has come. Instead of practicalizing what you told the people, you said that they should stay in. Then how do you reconcile the orientation you gave them and what has happened? I think we must walk the talk. When we go into classroom and learn, we must practicalize it.
Right, so Stanley, let's move away from the drama that the MPs have been expressing. Now, when you went there, how was the nature of security? I mean, considering that the entire roof is gone, how is Parliament going to, be protected through the period, up to tomorrow at least? Okay,
per information I gathered and per the number of my accounts, the accounts that I can give, is that when I got to the scene, already the Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa, it's already there with his men. And just as we are about to leave the scene too, some policemen came in to assist or to complement the efforts of those who are already on the ground.
Right, so Stanley, we'll end it there, and we're grateful that you made time to pass through. We'll be following up on this a lot more till tomorrow to see what happens, and we're not sure whether this is going to affect proceedings in Parliament, but it does appear Parliament will have to suspend for some time, but we wouldn't know the details of that till tomorrow. But let's move on, still with this rainstorm. Tuesday's evening's rainstorm brought down a tree completely blocking the John Hammond Road in front of TV3 here in Kanda. This is the second time in less than 6 months that the branches of this particular tree inside the information service yard across the street has come down during rainstorm. Tuesday evening's development compelled motorists from Kanda to make a U-turn through the Independence Avenue or the Ring Road Central, where 2 more trees had also come down and blocked parts of the road. Here, the trees took 1 lane of the dual carriage road, Ring Road Central, at the GBC bus stop, slowing down traffic at that section. It is obvious motorists would have to endure the trouble of ongoing round these trees until the city authorities are able to quickly respond to this. So a tree has fallen across the TV3, the road in front of TV3, and a lot more across the Ring Road opposite the GBC road, and motorists have been inconvenienced by that. So you're still watching News at 10. We have more news for you. Don't go away.
Hooray! Now the new start.
Welcome back. Now, Parliament has set up a 5-member special ad hoc committee to investigate the alleged bribery of some appointees of the appointment committee. The investigative committee is expected to conclude its findings and report back to the House in a month.
Chairman of the Appointments Committee, Joseph Osei-Wusu, denied ever requesting or receiving any money from then-Minister-designate for Energy, Boakye Ejaako, for some members of the committee. He described MP for Boko Central, Mahama Yariga's allegations as colossal untruth and ill-motivated.
NPP has such a huge majority in Parliament, and as such does not need to pay a bribe to have its way in this House.
He then asked the Speaker to grant him permission to go to the civil court to redeem his image. MP for Ifijuasia Sokore, in a statement, implored the Speaker to invoke his powers and refer the conduct of Mahama Yariga to the Privileges Committee, since his action was a breach of privilege.
This allegation, when unsubstantiated, will be an affront to the dignity of Parliament and fuel further the perception of corruption of Parliament and parliamentarians in the discharge of parliamentary duties.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu agreed Ghanaians wanted nothing but the truth and asked the Speaker to rather establish a special ad hoc committee to investigate the matter.
Mr. Speaker, coincidentally, the first Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the Appointments Committee also doubles as Chairman of the Privileges Committee. So even the principles of law, I cannot see, even though naturally the Privileges Committee will have a Vice Chairman, but a referral to that committee where he will preside over the matter itself will lead to questions.
The Majority Leader, Osei Mensah-Bonsu, described the allegation as earth-shaking one which must be dealt with, and agreed with the Minority Leader on an ad hoc committee.
My worry, Mr. Speaker, is that if it should go to the Privileges Committee, it may attract unnecessary partisanship.
A 5-member committee was subsequently set up with MP for Esikado Ketan, Joe Gate, as chairman. The others are MP for Yilo Krobo, Magnus Kofi Amwate, MP for Joabin, Amapoma, MP for Talensi, BT Baba, and MP for Ofinso South, Ben Abdallah Banda. The committee has 1 month to conclude its work and report to the Speaker. Meanwhile, the Speaker has warned MPs to be mindful of their comments on the matter in public so as to avoid contempt.
Meanwhile, the citizens' movement against corruption has also kicked against Parliament investigating itself in the bribery matter that has hit the Appointments Committee. Adam Senanu is with the movement.
No, it does not come as a surprise. Parliament has had a tendency of, as it were, doing what it believes is in the best interest of Parliament. For many of us, it would have been a better choice to go out of Parliament to get an independent group to do this investigation. Albeit we cannot begrudge them the fact that they do have the authority to look within themselves and set up such committees. Ideally, given the background and the number of times such allegations have been raised, it would have been much better if they had gone for an independent group to do this investigation.
Dr. Rashid Dramani is Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs. He's joining us on phone now. Good evening, sir. So would you say Parliament should possibly rescind its decision to investigate itself?
Thank you very much, and good evening to you. I will not go that far. I just hope that the committee will surprise everybody by doing a very thorough and independent job.
When you say surprise everybody, is it to suggest that normally people will expect that Parliament will not be fair by investigating itself?
Well, I think that's what we've heard for the past 2 days, and myself, I think I have been one of those that said at a very early stage that it is important in the interest of Parliament's own image and integrity, given the kind of key parties that have been involved in the matter, including the institution itself, against the 3 MPs, and then the 3 MPs against the majority side, and so on. I thought that it would have been better if we had a body that would be an outside body, but of course reporting to Parliament, given the kind of rules that govern the operations of the institution. However, I think this is what we have now. I mean, Mr. Speaker has the powers, and he has used his powers, and at this stage, the committee has started this work already, and I would just hope that the committee, knowing the level of public interest that there is in this matter, the committee will live up to the expectation of the public,
right,
by doing a very thorough and independent job.
Right, thanks very much, Dr. Rashid Dramani, for your time. Now, away from that, still on the same issue, a group has petitioned the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, to ask the Energy Minister, Boakye Agyarko, to step aside in the wake of the bribery allegation that has rocked the Appointments Committee of Parliament. Strategic Thinkers Network, a think tank whose mission, they say, is to provide practical recommendations on issues of governance for the benefit of Ghana. In a letter to the President dated January 30, petitioned him to make the minister step aside in the pending matter until a resolution of the controversy. The statement was signed by Ni Tete, and he's here in the studio for a chat on this. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
So I am fine, fantastic, and I hope you're doing well too.
Yes,
we're grateful that you could come despite the rainstorm and all, but I need to have a fair understanding. I'm sure those who are watching us also want to understand why you think that Boakye Agyarko should step aside.
Well, thank you very much. We as agents of governance and democracy petitioned His Excellency Akufo-Addo today and also sent a copy to the Right Honourable Speaker asking Honourable Emmanuel Boakye Agyarko, the Minister for Energy, to step aside pending the parliamentary inquiry into the alleged bribery attempt. You would recall that members of Parliament on the minority side have asked the Speaker to institute some investigation on this alleged bribery
in which
attempt.
the Speaker has gone ahead to set up a five-member committee to look into that. And that's not enough?
Yes, well, and so we deem it fit that His Excellency the President would want to be interested in seeing this matter to a logical conclusion. And so we also see that this is the time for him to expedite action by asking his Energy Minister to step aside for investigations to go on. And if indeed it's not true, he comes back to government. But because we think that we have a president who has always preached against bribery and corruption, and less than 1 month in office, if there has been some level of allegations such as bribery and corruption.
So let's put it this way. So this is actually a test of the stance of Nana Akufo-Addo on the fight against corruption, more than just asking the ministers to step aside.
I think that we look at it from the two ways. First of all, we think that it is a serious matter, and so we petitioned the President and also sent a copy to the Right Honourable Speaker asking that such a serious matter should have to be treated in high esteem. And so we think that in such an allegation, definitely the Energy Minister would have to step aside for investigation to go on. Aside that, that's another other leg, is that, well, he is essentially the President has always preached against bribery and corruption. He has always said that he will never allow bribery and corruption to mar his governance. And so we think that this is actually the first test for him to tell Ghanaians that indeed he would not tolerate bribery and corruption, and indeed he supports the zero tolerance so far as bribery and corruption is concerned. And so we as a think tank that is more concerned about giving practical recommendations, we deem it fit that the President would want to be interested in seeing this matter to a logical conclusion.
Now let's move away from your petition a bit and talk about the setting up of this committee by Parliament. I asked the same question to Dr. Rashid Dramani. Do you think that the committee can do a thorough job of investigating itself? I mean, they're members of parliament. Do you think that they can do a clean, trustworthy job of investigating themselves?
Well, we are rather expecting that an independent body would be in charge of investigating this matter, because it is more or less like their very own, who there has been some allegations, and so we think that it will only be fair that indeed they will have some independent institution that will do that. Already, we per our observation, we realize that Shraj has also decided to say that if the parliament does not go into the matter microscopically, they would come and do what is right. But we think that it will only be proper that we have an independent institution that would actually investigate this matter, because we want to see what is really the truth, because this matter is trending.
It's not an issue you think we should easily brush aside.
Yes.
Nee, I'm grateful for your time.
Yeah,
we have to run. Thanks very much. Nee Tete is with a think tank which has petitioned the president to ask Boakye Jackor to step aside. Now, President Akufo-Addo, together with other African leaders, have cut sword for the construction of a new head office for the Committee of Intelligence and Security Services in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The move is to enable the committee to be assertive and effective in enhancing security on the continent.
Insecurity continues to be a bane for the African continent. The continent is currently battling terrorism, cybercrime, drug trafficking, kidnapping, conflict, among others. It is for this reason that the African Union in 2004 established the Committee of Intelligence and Security Services to assist the African Union Commission in making informed decisions to promote security on the continent. But the Commission has operated without a headquarters, hampering smooth flow of day-to-day activity. The situation prompted President of Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasongo, to make an offer of $20 million for the construction of the edifice, with the Ethiopian government giving out a piece of land worth $81 million for the project. President Akufo-Addo supported President Teodoro Obiang Mbasongo in cutting the sword. The African Union Commission for Peace and Security Ambassador Smail Shegui urged for more effort in dealing with security issues on the continent.
I'm therefore proud to be associated with this building donated to an African Union institution by an African country, which underscores the need for synergy by the government and people of Africa to contribute to strengthening continental institutions. This is a strong step forward towards providing African solutions to African problems.
51 member countries make up members of CISA.
And that's it for News at 10. We're grateful that you could stay with us. For more news, you can log on to 3news.com. On behalf of the crew here, good night.